Hi, and welcome to the show that likes to get under the covers of the hottest books around. And with me on this expedition, I have my wonderful panel. I have Nicola and Tim from Shoreditch Radio. How are you doing?
Good, thanks.
I've got Disha Koshik from Mediatel, and I have Mary Andes from Camden Creative. How are you guys doing?
Good, thanks.
Yeah, are you ready to get reviewing?
Yeah, let's do it.
Well, we've got some really hot books coming up. We've got 50 Shades of Grey with E.L. James, and we have Before I Go to Sleep with S.J. Watson. Lots of initials, aren't there, at the moment?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. It's the fashion.
So anyway, we have, obviously the book, 50 Shades of Grey, is a book that we have to talk about because, quite frankly, everyone's talking about it. Everyone's reading it under their desks, hiding it on their Kindles, on the train, plane and automobile. So
I've never been so glad to have a Kindle.
Oh, I didn't read it on my Kindle.
I've been reading it on the tube.
No, I'm always on the Kindle like, I hope no one can read the word like grey or steel. They might know what it is.
Yeah, every time I see someone reading that book, I feel like saying something to them like,
I think
what scene are you on?
Or like watching their cheeks redden, and I'm just like...
I have seen actually some women's faces reddening, like when they're reading it.
I
I'm like,
believe it.
yeah,
I'm not surprised.
you're on a scene, aren't you? You're on a really good scene. And I look at the page where it's at, and I kind of know where they are.
That's why I love my Kindle.
So just the general premise of it, it's about a girl called Anastasia Steele. She's a college student. She's very innocent and virginal, isn't she? Yeah. And she comes across the mysterious, sexy Christian Grey, who happens to be a billionaire and is extremely hot. And she goes to interview him. She's all nervous and, you know, like that, and as we'd all be. And Christian Grey just takes a complete liking to her, you know, because she is just, she doesn't know she's beautiful, but obviously she is. Yeah, and they embark on this incredibly sexual, passionate kind of sexual relationship, which starts off as sexual but grows into something else. Yeah. So guys, what do you think about this book?
Well, I'm completely hooked. I'm addicted to it. I do love it. I've read the first two and I can't wait to get to the third one. I'm just taking it as a bit of fun, a bit of entertainment, and yeah, I love it.
What about you guys? What do you think about it?
I don't like it.
Really? That's a surprise, even though you've read like all three of them?
I read all three.
I think you secretly love it,
The first book, I thought, okay. Then the second book, it just got ridiculous, and the sex scenes got boring, like really boring. And
really?
It just literally is like, oh my God, they don't talk to each other. Well, he won't talk to her because he just wants one thing, because he doesn't know how to communicate, and she's just stupid.
Yeah, strong opinion.
Yeah. I wasn't a huge fan either. I only read the first book, and I don't think I'm gonna read the second too.
Really?
But I mean, it was a bit of fun. You know, it went quickly. I read it quickly, but I just was so frustrated with everyone in the book. I wanted to like shake all of them. Yeah.
What do you think it is about this book that kind of makes it so kind of appealing to the masses like this?
Well,
I mean, it's the last time a book was so big, it was like Harry Potter or Twilight, I'd say.
Harry Potter generation growing up.
Exactly.
Yeah, for the elder.
Well, in fact, this was kind of based off Twilight, wasn't it?
Yeah. And Twilight was on TV the other day, and I started to realise how she based it on the characters.
She based it on Twilight,
definitely.
Well, I've never seen or read Twilight. But like, I would read the book and kind of be like, when she described him, I tried to think of Robert Pattinson, isn't it? And I'd be like, this is like really strange. If I try and think about this as like how she originally meant it.
So what? She's ripped off an idea.
But she's just taken away all the vampires and just added a lot more sex.
Which is what we really want. Well, quite clearly, we really want that, don't we? So, but why do you think it's so popular? Like, what do you think the reason is?
For me, personally, I think it's just one of those books that you kind of love to hate. Do you see what I mean? Like, you know you shouldn't really like it because there's just so much, like, the writing isn't great, representation of women isn't great, but it's just pure entertainment.
I mean, I think also people want to be part of something because it had 1 million downloads on Kindle, like the most of any book. Yeah. So obviously, you know,
I think everyone's reading it. I mean, it's not something I would ever read. It's not something that a lot of people I know who've read it or are reading it I would never pick them as that kind of person. But it becomes more than just, you know, more than a book. But it becomes, people talk about it all the time, and eventually you want to be able to be like, okay, I have an opinion on it because I've read it.
So the reason, I mean, a lot of people say the storyline isn't very good. It's, you know, obviously more about the, you know, the sex scenes and stuff like that. But do you actually think there's a storyline there? Like, what is the storyline? What do you think it is?
What is the storyline? There you go.
It's
There's no storyline. It's just about...
It's a light storyline. It's the fantasy of this girl meeting a billionaire.
Yeah.
In the second book,
it's just overblown.
So stupid. And the third book, it gets even more stupid. Like, she's making things up.
In
as
what
she goes
way?
along.
In what way?
Because just like things that happen to them, it's like, right, okay, this wouldn't happen. And then they forget about it. And the way he forgets about it is like, oh, something traumatic's happened, let's have sex.
Yeah.
And that's it.
That's
That
a solution
seems
to everything.
faintly realistic, to be
No, but,
honest.
like,
Like, guys,
really-
being
Maybe
like,
that's
"You should deal
real.
with
Yeah,
this."
maybe that's how
Maybe.
people do
I
solve
think
their problems.
The plot, it just gets more and more and more ridiculous
Yeah.
to hide the fact that
That's
this book
really
is
interesting
just
because
very
I thought the
stupid.
first one was fairly ridiculous.
Well,
it
there we
gets
are.
worse.
I think it
Believe
does.
me.
I can't even.
The ending of the second book, I was actually laughing because I was like, and it
There
was
were-
supposed to be really dramatic.
Can
and
we
I was
talk
just
about like the
seriously.
dialogue and
Yeah,
stuff?
oh
my
There were
God.
times where literally I'd read it and it was supposed to be sexy, and I would literally just laugh out
Yeah,
loud and
I
be
think
like,
it's hilarious.
if
It's
some-
comedy genius.
if somebody said that to me in
That's
the middle
good
of,
Oh, no, you'd be
I
like,
would just be
you've
like,
ruined the moment.
"Are you serious?"
It does seem a little bit like one of those cheesy kind of like blue movie type
Yeah.
things at times, like some of the
What
things
she
he says.
annoys me because she cries every time she realises how much she loves him. And I'm crying because I think she's an idiot. Why is she crying? Because she realises she loves him. I don't get it.
And also, she never says like any word for vagina.
Oh, yeah,
She
no,
always
my
says
sex.
down
sex.
there.
Oh, my sex.
Down there, yeah, she's
Down
so
there.
innocent.
But that shows her innocence. Yeah.
But what is it that intrigues us about their relationship? Do you want to see, because obviously she is, the idea is that he's like the dominant and she's a submissive in this kind of sexual relationship they embark on. They have a kind of contract that never really gets signed and she's supposed to be a submissive in this. But I think maybe the thing that, what do you think? Do you think maybe the problem is that she becomes a submissive also in their relationship outside of the bedroom?
Definitely.
Because he, buys everything for her. He tells her, go on the pill and things like that. Do you think that's what angers people a little
Well,
bit?
I think he controls her and she doesn't see her friends as often as she did.
Which is the first sign.
Yeah.
I was reading this, and all I can think of is, they always say the first sign of a domestic abuser is
Yeah.
he tries to isolate you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why is no one seeing these warning signs?
Do you think the writer tries to make her a bit stronger though? Sort of trying to make her independent.
I think
Do you
she's
she
trying
tries?
to make Anastasia like this strong, independent woman, but because she's
Tries,
just so
yeah.
blown
Yeah.
away by Christian. But I personally don't think Anastasia's like that at all. Because even before she meets Christian, she's going to go and move in with her best friend, and it's like her best friend's parents who've bought the flat and everything. She's not an independent person.
No.
And that's why Christian likes her, because he can easily control her.
Well, it's kind of like she ticks the boxes in a lot of ways. Like, it's like the author, okay, has a job, gets a degree. But, the character herself, she fits those kind of boxes of independent woman. But she's
But the
not,
thing-
like
Yeah.
you said, for that reason. And
Do you think she sort of ticked them all off? Yeah.
yeah,
yeah,
she ticks
I'd
them off,
mention-
but it's not
Well,
with any substance.
She tries to be independent because she gets a job in the second book and it's like what she wants to get into. He finds out, buys the company. And then she's like, oh, why did you do that? Oh, okay. And then she's like the director of the company. So she hasn't done nothing herself.
I actually remember thinking that is when it kind of jumped the
Yeah.
shark.
Yeah.
That's when
I was like, this is getting
jumping.
ridiculous now. Okay, now she's like the head of her own publishing company. It's
I
just
know.
mad.
Oh
It's
my
like,
God.
why
And
would that happen?
It's just fantasy fulfillment.
Yeah.
It is
pretty
fantasy,
much.
and actually maybe don't you think, guys, that you should maybe just look at it like that? It's a little bit of fantasy
Oh,
fulfillment.
well, I'm glad it's not real life because if I met a guy like that, seriously.
Oh, who would you do this all for? Who would you be submissive to then?
That's a
if
loaded
you could be.
question.
That's very
I know
true.
what yours
Yeah, I
would
know.
be.
Saeed
Russell
or
Brand.
Russell Brand.
Russell
from
Brand!
Love
Why would
Russell
you
Brand.
do that
Oh my
to
god,
him?
Russell Brand!
Oh, he sends shivers down my spine. That
Well,
man. And not in a good way, in a bad way.
Oh my god.
Or Saeed from Lost.
Too hairy. Too hairy. All
do
these
a lot of
Watch
things.
that man.
Yeah.
the hair would get stuck in your teeth and everything.
Will not.
What about you, Nicola? Who would be your Christian Grey?
I absolutely adore Ryan Gosling.
Okay.
He's like my number one at the moment.
Actually, a lot of people have been saying he should play that
know.
in the movie.
I've
Yeah.
Ryan
heard that
Gosling.
he might
yeah.
be-
And
might
Mila
be Christian
Kunis has
Grey.
been a popular one for
No.
the movie.
She's not. She's too confident.
Yeah,
you know.
agreed.
She
You
could
know
play.
who has an innocent face? That one in American Beauty.
Oh, that was ages ago
She's
now.
too old now. I actually find it weird that everyone's picking a lot older guys.
Yeah.
Well,
But,
I didn't, when I read it in my mind, like, I always thought of him, maybe it's because I like older guys, but like, he's supposed to be what, like 28 or something?
Yeah, I thought
And I was
he
like,
was
no,
younger.
in my mind he's like 35.
Yeah.
They should have made him 35.
Yeah.
Well, but he's supposed to be, what's his name, from Twilight. So I
Yeah,
guess it's based on that.
okay.
But I just spent the entire time, like, every time they mentioned his name, I literally would like mentally scribble it out
Yeah.
and be like, no.
Well, I think I actually recommend people to read it. And I would go and watch the movie too. So shame on me. So anyway, that was 50 Shades of Grey with the writer E.L. James. And I I actually enjoyed it, I have to say. Guilty pleasure. Definitely a guilty pleasure.